Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one, Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two, on bar.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three, Lamas covered, three-handle family Gradunzel.
Mamma mia!
And now, Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
Number 4, armbar.
I will never retire!
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I am your host, Greg Unchained. Today is a bit of a bonus episode where we're going to take a look at PWA Call to Arms, which takes place this Saturday, the 11th of August at Max Watts in Sydney. I sat down with Mikey to record just a little 10-minute bit to sort of plug into the Aussie Graps show, which comes out on Friday, but we got carried away. We talked for a bit longer than we thought and thought, why not just throw it out as its own episode so everyone can hear not just about the PWA show, but even Mikey's story with PWA because he has an emotional connection to PWA. So I know I had a really fun time recording the conversation with Mikey. Mikey's one of my best friends in wrestling, as you all know. He hosts the King of Sports podcast with me, so really good to sort of get to know his story with coming back to wrestling through PWA. And yeah, without further ado, let's talk Call to Arms. Alright, and I am joined at this time by our very own big boy Mikey, who has some things to say about the upcoming PWA Call to Arms show. The PWA Call to Arms show is this weekend, right, Mikey?
Yeah, mate, it's this weekend at the Max Watts Sound in Moore Park in Sydney. It should be an awesome event.
Right, so for anyone listening from the future, that's the 11th of August that this event is going to be taking place. So
Correct.
It's not this weekend for you, it's this weekend for us as we record this. It's Wednesday and the show is taking place this Saturday. So we just wanted to go through it because I know you're a big PWA fan. And you wanted to go through, for our Aussie Graps episode, you wanted to add in some insight on some of the matches that are coming up. So I'm going to run through the card, and I want you to tell us what's going on. So first up, we got Conco and the Fudge versus Luchi.
Yeah, this should be quite interesting. Fudge has moved into tagging with Conco at PWA. It's sort of started just as a little podcast gag, so they're starting to tag a little bit more as Shazza concentrates on a little bit more important stuff, I guess.
Right, because Shazza and the Fudge were the Chock Blockers.
Chock Blockers, that's right, and they were the tag champions up until about 3 months ago, which is all good. And you know, Conco is currently a tag champion with Joey Ryan and another promotion, so obviously both have tag title aspirations. But yeah, Luchi and Kai tagging together for the first time in PWA as a genuine tag team should be interesting. They do a lot of the PWA young boy stuff together. Like they've kind of gone through the ranks together. They're both around the same age, and yeah, should be great. The story behind it's pretty funny. The whole Luciano being a clean eating freak and an environmental friendly man, and Fudge being the opposite.
Luciano is tree hugger Luchi. He's like CJ Parker was, right, in NXT.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's an absolute hippie vegan kind of guy. And so, yeah.
Yeah. No, he's should be fantastic. And Guy Drake is in my opinion, one of the most underrated guys on the PWA roster.
Yeah, so even as a person down in Adelaide, I mean, I'm from Sydney, so I do know most of these guys. But Luciano and Kai were sort of starting out when I was up there. But no, the story has come across. Even as a guy in Adelaide, I've been able to catch up on the story of these ones on the videos that they've uploaded to Facebook and whatnot. And it's just so funny with Fudge polluting the rivers.
Yeah.
It's very entertaining. So we'll drop links to the YouTube for those. Then we've got Belle Stevens versus Jessica Troy. I don't know anything about this match.
So Belle Stevens is a relatively new member of the PWA roster, as they like to call it. She had her first match at PWA Sold Our Soul for Rock and Robbie in June. She tagged with Shazza in a tag match against Madison and Jess Troy. And on debut, Belle picked up the victory over Jess. So this is a little bit of...
a big win.
Yeah, big win. And just so this is a little bit of a retribution match for Jess, I guess, to shake off losing to a rookie. So
Right, so Jessica Troy's trying to get the win back.
Right. And, Jessica Troy's a very experienced wrestler at the moment. She's, all over the place with the Shimmer and Rise and whatnot. So she'll be competing in Chikara in a couple of months. So, one of the most experienced women's wrestlers in this country. And Belle, one of the youngest ones. But she's got a fantastic in-ring skill set. I didn't know what to expect last month when I saw it. In June. But no, she's a fantastic talent.
That's awesome. And then we've got Ricky South versus B. Priestley. This is something that excites me. As you know, I'm a big fan of intergender wrestling.
Yeah.
And we're all at the B+ big fans of Ricky South.
Oh, absolutely. Shout out to Ricky. I'll make sure that this goes straight to him because he is the most beautiful man in the whole pro wrestling scene in Australia. He's dangerous because in the last 6 months he's picked up this new hardcore side to him that if anyone read my interview with him, I think it was week 2 that I did with Ricky, I asked him about what's brought out this new hardcore side of him, and he actually does talk about a lot of his inspirations, and a lot of them are guys that have a bit of a hardcore type background, So
yeah, so he likes a lot of the Japanese deathmatch kind of stuff, like the Big Japan. Yeah, he's got very good taste in wrestling as well.
And he's had a big year this year. He picked up a one-on-one victory against Jimmy Havoc in the PWA X Progress events in April. So, he's having a big year. This should be fun. I've yet to see Ricky South involved in an intergender match. I guess he's been in the Rumbles with some women that I've seen, but nothing major. So, yeah, this should be really interesting.
Yeah, and I saw an interview that he did with One Fall Entertainment. I'll link that in the show notes as well. And basically, he was saying that PWA don't like to draw lines on it with gender. And, if a wrestler challenges another wrestler, that's fair game. And obviously, Ricky laid out the challenge for B. Priestley. Challenge accepted. And the match is on, and it should be a really good match.
Right.
And then we've got Matt Diamond and Mikey Broderick. What's going on in this one?
This is going to be a quick one. This is just based off their last match at Sold Our Soul for Rock and Robbie. They were both part of a fatal 4-way where Mikey Broderick went to go for the win, but Matt Diamond stole it with what I call one of the best RKO stun gun type moves I've ever seen in my life. So this is, again, similar to the Jess and Bell one, a retribution type match. So.
Okay, yeah, so similar to the Belle Stevens Jessica Troy situation, trying to get the win back. Makes sense. 4 Nations versus the Velocities. This is the tag team title match.
Yeah.
This one looks like it's going to be a show stealer.
Oh yeah, I call this night a 4-way main event because there is 4 matches worthy of main event status. This if Robbie and Jonah didn't steal the show at Rock and Robbie, Sold Our Soul for Rock and Robbie, this match, 4 Nations versus Velocities, was going to be the match of the night for me. So this is literally just a rematch from Sold Our Soul for Rock and Robbie. So last time the tag titles were up for grabs as SMS had to vacate the titles. So this was literally up for grabs tag team title match. just with that little bit of extra, what's the right word? Experience and tagging together and experience in the ring, Mick and Jonah were able to pick up this victory. Not easily, because, the Velocities are probably the most exciting tag team in the New South Wales scene, probably the whole country, but they're fantastic, the Velocities. I don't know if they'll pick up the victory here, but they'll try to steal the show again. They're just Paris de Silva. No disrespect to Jude London, by the way, but Paris de Silva is one of the most hands-down exciting guys on the PWA roster. So fun, but yeah, this will be a cracker.
Awesome. And then this one has a lot riding on it. Shazza McKenzie, Madison Eagles. It's a She-1 qualifier for Pro Wrestling Eve. The She-1, of course, it's a play on the G1. It's their tournament for crowning the Ace of Eve. And this is a qualifying match to go over to England and participate in the She-1.
Right.
I have my money on Shazza. You have your money on Madison.
Yeah, and full on too, because there's a shirt on the line.
There's a shirt on the line. I'm looking forward to my Shazza shirt. I spoke to Shazza a few weeks ago, and she knows that I'm in her corner, and she said it's not pressure, but it's motivation. She's going to get it done for me. So I'm confident. I'm confident going into this one. But why don't you fill us in on these two? Have a lot of history.
Oh, they do.
So.
They, two of New South Wales, if not Australia's best in-ring workers, both on the top of their game in Shimmer over the last couple of years. So, yeah, a lot of history between these two. I'm very surprised that the title's not on the line yet. I'm not too sure why they didn't put the title on the line in this match as well. I know they got the She-1 stipulation.
That's stakes enough.
I have a feeling that they might, surprise us with a little, like Madison daring to put the title on the line before the match starts. I have a feeling that's going to go down. I don't think, because it's the anniversary show, I was expecting all three titles to be on the line. I still think it will. So
yeah, I could see that happening.
But yeah, no, it'll be a hell of a match. Like, this is probably their 2000th one-on-one match in their career across every promotion. So yeah, this will be another stellar one.
Robbie Eagles versus Will Ospreay. Now, you've already written up a fantastic piece on this that people can view at thebplus.com, and I think you've got some more coming for some of these other matches as well. But let's go through it. Robbie Eagles, Will Ospreay.
What can I say? This is the rematch of the year. This is, like you said, it's all in the write-up that I put on the B+ the other day. Robbie's last 12 months, I'll just do it quickly. Robbie's last 12 months has been rough. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, he's personal things, like he got married and he's debuted for PWG, New Japan. So, those accomplishments are fantastic. However, every step of the way over the last 12 months, where Robbie's had a down night, so whether he's had like a loss or he's dropped the title or something like that, everything has involved Will Ospreay or Will Ospreay just being in the same building. I know it sounds crazy, and I don't think PWA aimed it to be this way, but even across MCW and other places. So, like, since this match, since Robbie lost, this was a 5-star caliber last year, hands down. And ever since then, so Robbie picked up the MCW title. Sorry, yeah, he had the MCW Intercontinental title. The night that he lost that, Will was in the building. Every time that he's dropped the PWA title, even if it was just that last month at the Sold Out Sold for Rock and Robbie, Will's face was on posters all over the building. So it's just like there's this Will Ospreay curse on Robbie.
Right, like there's the spectre of the loss is hanging over his head, exactly. And he needs to dispel that spectre.
Exactly.
And so he's laid the challenge out: Will Ospreay versus Robbie Eagles 2 at Call to Arms. It's a very exciting match,
and there's so much history behind these two, and it's just fantastic.
And then we've got the main event cage match: Caveman Ugg challenging for Jonah Rock's PWA Heavyweight Championship, and this will be Jonah Rock versus Caveman Ugg 3.
Yeah.
So
I don't think Max Watts is big enough for this. They're in the same vicinity as the Sydney Cricket Ground. I don't think the Sydney Cricket Ground could really hold this either. Jonah Rock versus K-Man Ugg, two of the most agile big men that this country has to offer. I'm going to go for an early prediction. K-Man Ugg's winning the title. This is going to be an emotional match, and I think that K-Man Ugg is going to go all out, and he's going to... So this is the trilogy.
Yeah, so the first meeting was at Call to Arms last year, and Caveman Ugg got the win.
Right.
And then, of course, they met again at PWA's Release the Quackenbush,
Right.
where Jonah Rock got the win. And that one was a street fight?
That was a street fight, and I'm pretty sure, because K-Man goes barefoot, I'm pretty sure his foot went through a lot of pins. So... which is not nice at all, and I'll never forget back at that show. I took my best mate who does not like wrestling at all to see that, and he walked away just going, "Holy shit, that Caveman Ugg guy is probably one of the best guys I've ever seen." So, I love Caveman Ugg. I know that his sentence would be "Ugg good, Ugg win," but that's exactly what his sentence will be. But Jonah Rock, as you know, probably one of the top 5 best big men on the independent scene in the whole world.
Yes.
So, this is going to be huge. And in a steel cage. I keep forgetting about the steel cage part. I just keep thinking about the match. I forget about the steel cage.
Yeah, well, you got to escalate from a street fight. You got to escalate from a street fight to somewhere, and a steel cage is where you keep these guys contained. So it makes sense for the trilogy to close it out.
This is Ugg's time. He's had a lot of opportunities over the last year. He had 2 title shots against Robbie in the space of 3 weeks at the start of the year. He fell short on both attempts. But I think this is his time.
Right, and I know that this show actually is important to you personally as well, because it marks a year since you went to your first PWA show and somewhat fell in love.
Right, so just over a year ago, probably in June, I was at that House of Hardcore Sydney show, and there were 2 matches, actually 3 matches that changed my life with wrestling. This House of Hardcore show had the likes of Young Bucks and Tommy Dreamer and Billy Gunn and Jack Swagger, and I thought, that's cool. But I knew that they had some Aussie guys, and I was like, I'm keen to watch these Aussie guys and see where they're at. One match was Robbie versus Jack versus, I can't tell you the third guy. I think it was some Melbourne guy that I hadn't heard of, and I still haven't heard of since. But, God, Robbie and Jack just went all out and just absolutely killed it. And then there was the Shazza versus Madison match. Again, I just was like, oh my God. Like, the women are better than the men in Australia. Like, this is crazy. And then there was a tag team match. I can't remember the life of me. Oh, it was Spirit Squad faced Bull James from NXT and K-Man Ugg. Ugg was his tag team partner on the night. And Ugg was awesome. I was like, God, these guys are cool. So me and my cousin Matt actually knew a couple of the PWA guys because he used to train with Kyle Fletcher at a gym, and he knew Luciano and he knew Charlie Evans and a few others. So he was like, oh, dude, I'll introduce you to some of them. And so we went over and talked to Robbie. We talked to K-Man, and K-Man gave me one of his big squeezes, lifted me above his head kind of thing, which, I'm not a lightweight. And yeah, they gave us a flyer of the PWA Call to Arms 10-year anniversary show, and I was like, oh, you know what, let's do this, man. Like, I want to go and check it out. And I walked away from that show just going, oh my God. Like, not only was Robbie versus Will 1, Jonah versus K-Man 1, like, it was just one of the best nights like I'd ever had in wrestling, and I was just like, there's something special about this crew. And I've missed maybe 2 PWA events in the last year. One happened to be on the Central Coast that I just couldn't get to, and one was in Kashula, and I couldn't get to that. But every time that they've been at either Paddington RSL, me and the boys have gone out to Parramatta RSL for it. Me and my mates, we follow this crew as much as we can. And yeah, there's something special about this crew. Obviously, there's a lot of Australian promotions out there that have fantastic talent. Obviously, MCW, Riot City, Explosive Pro, Newy Pro, which is essentially PWA
Closely
Light.
linked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's PWA Light in a weird way. Rock and Roll, all those sort of guys, fantastic things. But there's just something I have an emotional attachment with PWA because it's something that brought me back to the wrestling industry. Like I've been a wrestling fan since I was 3 years old. My father got me into it, and I've always loved WWE. I always loved the WCW and the Asian, the Japanese scenes, and all that. And I never really got to fall in love with the Australians. And I always thought that AWF was the premier talent, the premier show in Australia. And whilst I'm not a hater of AWF in no way, shape, or form, I'm not that guy. TNT does what he does.
But it's not the cream of the crop. Absolutely. But when you Google Australian wrestling, it's the first thing that comes up, and so a lot of people will have a similar experience.
Right. And
you're not alone with that.
And I got nothing against Greg Bounds. I think he's a really nice guy. I got nothing against the way that he books his talent, but I always thought because that's what when you Googled Australian wrestling, that's what you got. Guys like Daniel Bryan and Billy Kidman and stuff had worked with AWF back in the day, so you're like, it can't be that bad, right? And then they were always on display at Supernova, so you always thought, okay, so that's the premier Australian show. But then you look deep into it, and you're just like, oh no, there is premier talent across the country, so since discovering PWA, it's just got this drive in. I seriously wouldn't be sitting here talking to you or doing anything to do with the B+ if it wasn't for PWA. Like, I would never have cared about getting into either writing or talking about wrestling. I've tried a million different Facebook pages. I've had a page called Owen. I've had a page called Australian and New Zealand Fanatics, and I've tried everything I can because the only thing that I care about is growing our podcast brand enough to give back to the Australian scene. I care so much about the Australian scene, and PWA is the pinnacle of that. So yeah, big emotional attachment to this.
Well, it's the catalyst for you, right? It's the catalyst that brought you back. But through the B+, we're hoping to expose you to more.
Oh,
we're gonna get into all of it and get all of it out there for everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what, Mikey? I think this is actually going to become its own episode, to be honest with you. So I don't think we're going to include this in the Aussie Graps. It's going to be the big boy feature. I'm going to edit it together tonight, and we'll release that tomorrow as a bonus episode for our listeners. Thanks a lot for breaking down the card for us, because it's one of those things where being in different states, sometimes it can be really hard to follow everything, and it's really good to have people like yourself around that can sort of fill in the gaps and now people over in Perth can be listening to this and go, oh, that Caveman Ugg and Jonah Rock trilogy sounds really good. I want to check that out. Or look into all the stuff with Will Ospreay. I'm curious now to go through and see all of Robbie's losses from this year and see if all of them have some kind of link to Will Ospreay. Like you say, I'm really interested to have a look into it. And thanks a lot for sharing your story with us.
All good, mate. And I don't know if there are tickets still available. I think there's standing tickets for upstairs, which I think Robbie shared it on Twitter or Facebook the other day. Don't be afraid to buy those tickets because, especially with the cage match, you're going to have a great view of the cage match. So go follow PWA on Facebook, and they'll have links to the tickets through OzTix. There should be still a couple of tickets available, and I know they launched tonight that the meet and greet is live at 5:30 for Will Ospreay meet and greet. So if anyone listens to this and is planning on getting to the meet and greet, make sure you get there early enough so you don't miss out on that. And yeah, I'll definitely be sharing a big review hopefully on Monday, as this weekend is obviously very busy with that show and also the finals of G1. So, but there will be a massive. I'll make sure that there's something big on PWA over the course of the week.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Mikey. Where can people find you?
At bigboy_Mikey on Twitter.
Awesome. And of course, the show we've been talking about is PWA Black Label Presents Call to Arms. Takes place 11th of August at 8 p.m. at Max Watts. That's in Moore Park, Sydney. Tickets are available on OzTix, so make sure, like we said, there's a few tickets left, so get in there quick. Get those standing rooms so you can look down on the cage and watch the entire night unfold. I'm going to get a free Shazza shirt, so I'm excited.
And the shirt, I'm going to say this just quickly, just another little plug for one of the boys. The shirt won't come from the show because I'm going to actually order the shirt. Well, actually, what am I talking about? I'm not going to lose that. Madison's winning.
You're going to lose, buddy.
However, if I do lose, it will come via ordering it on wrestlermerch.com, which is Unsocial Jordan's merch page. So I'll purchase it off the website.
Yeah, so it's like our very own pro wrestling tees.
Right. And
so you're supporting local talent on multiple levels when you buy from wrestlermerch.com. So definitely check that out as well. And of course, we are on iTunes. We are now also on Spotify. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, thank you. Please give us a like on Facebook. Give us a 5-star review so that it helps our visibility. I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram, at the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit, at the B Plus Wrestling on Facebook. Oh, man, it's becoming a mouthful. We're also on Instagram. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm sure you can find it. Thanks for listening. There's so many things to plug.
Arm drag.
You're not doing this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy.
Goodbye and good night.
Hold 2. Arm bar.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Dummy.
Hold 3. The moss covered 3-handle family Granunzo.